All right, everybody, what's going on? It's me, Zach, from the channel Tarqaron. And
It's me, Alec, also from the channel Tarqaron.
all right, reporting for duty. That's right. It's our monthly thing we got going on where we're gonna be
Yeah,
alternating picking. We could call this something like movie night, as if we don't
yeah,
watch
maybe.
plenty of movies
Yeah,
all the time. Anyway,
we do.
yeah,
We definitely
it's
do.
like
But
we've
it
been
is
wall to
the movie
wall,
night.
movie.
Yeah,
But yeah, this is the
movie
monthly
night.
movie.
Mayhem,
Mama,
madness,
mama.
movie madness. Wait, no, madness was a whole other thing. That was that
Yeah.
was
Monthly
man. That
movie
was such.
mama.
Man, madness was so good. I
No one knows what that is,
cry.
so
No, you
so
and I do
yeah.
at least. Um, yeah.
But
So it's my turn. My turn to pick. Last month, Zach picked
yeah.
Memoir of a Snail.
Yeah, so you're seeing
Um,
now in the title, you already know the review. You're on the review, but I don't
yep,
know what
yep.
we're gonna be
Zach, you
watching
do not
and
know. You
reviewing
do not
next week.
know. So here's the thing: you do not have to rent this. You
Okay.
already have the streaming platform this is available on.
Great. Great.
We're gonna be
Prime Video.
watching. No, this is on Paramount Plus. We're gonna be watching Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves
Okay.
because you have not seen this,
Yeah.
and I've seen this like 4 times, and I really enjoy this movie, and I
Okay.
think it'll be a lot of fun to talk about. Particularly as you having not a ton of experience in Dungeons and Dragons, I
Hmm.
kind of want to hear what I want to hear what your take is on the
Yeah.
film.
I feel like I've
So
heard good things. Yeah.
yeah,
Good things about
yeah.
it. All
So
right. I'm down. D. That's right.
hmm
All right. Yeah, I have very limited experience with Dungeons and Dragons. Like maybe maybe 10 hours playtime at the most.
really
That's
okay.
the
So you have played
most.
like a couple of sessions here and
Yeah,
there, but
yeah, but
there you go.
very limited knowledge on it. But yeah, I've heard that good things from people who have no
Yeah,
idea what Dungeons and Dragons is, and so yeah,
it's a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. We can talk about it. And if you have Paramount Plus or some other means of getting a hold of it, we recommend it. Watch along with us, and you can come join us for our review next week. And
well, we're here. We're in the review, so they've already joined us. That's the
oh,
difficult thing
that's
with
right.
this.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
we this is recording ahead. I forgot how we do this, but so
yeah,
watch the movie if you haven't already.
yeah.
But if you have, stay tuned. We'll be talking about it here very shortly. And
Yep.
yeah,
And we'll turn it over to you guys in the studio.
yeah. Back to you.
All right, we're here, and we've watched Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. All right,
That's right. It's been a week later.
monthly movie night here on the channel. As we introduced previously, this was Alec's choice for us to watch this month, and yes, we do want to give you a heads up that a great wizard has cast a curse on Alec, and so he might glitch out
Apparently
every
so.
now and then. That's just part of the experience, and it's
Yeah,
fully intended.
it's that's intent is by design.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, by the wizard, it was by design, not by me.
So it's up to
I
us
didn't
how
want that
we
to
try
happen.
to navigate it,
Yeah,
and the question is, will we find the cure in the end?
that's gonna be the
By
test,
the end of the
really,
video.
ultimately. Yeah. Well, hopefully so.
But yeah,
Uh,
so I hadn't seen this before. Alec had, and
I've seen it. This is probably my fourth time seeing it, I think. So, as
Alex
I saw it,
is yeah,
I saw it in theaters. I showed my parents. I showed my at the time my home D&D group. We watched it for fun, and yeah,
yeah.
I it's quickly become one of my favorites. So
Well, so
yeah,
that's the thing with these movie nights. Sometimes you kind of know up front what one of us thinks about it,
right.
and usually we go into these reviews blind. We don't know anything about what we're thinking going into it. But yeah, Alex also had much more experience with Dungeons and Dragons than I have.
Mm-hmm.
But as we start all our reviews with our gut check, it's our score out of 10 coming into the review, and then we'll have time to talk everything through, and we'll lock in our final scores at the end, whether they change or not. 3, 2, 1, flip. 8.
9.
All right. All right. This is fun. It was a fun time for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a very fun movie. Pretty
Also,
much from start to
the only
finish.
person I knew was in this movie, I think, was Chris Pine, and so I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, Michelle Rodriguez."
yeah.
Oh
Michelle
wow!
Rodriguez is like also front and
All
center.
right.
Um,
Oh, the girl from It. She's in this.
yeah,
Uh,
yep, she's in this.
Justice.
The kid Justice Smith from both The Quarry and Detective Pikachu, both of which we've reviewed
Yeah, that's
on the
true.
channel. Um,
I've seen him in more and more things.
and then who was it?
Oh yeah,
Colin
Farrell.
no, Colin Firth, I
I was
believe.
gonna, yeah, that's the other F.
Yeah, Colin Firth. And then also it's just like a fun little quick roll. They just like, and here's what's his name? Crap. Oh no, I'm blanking now.
Mm-hmm.
I keep thinking Brendan Fraser, but that's not it.
That's right.
It's Michelle Rodriguez's halfling like
Oh
ex-husband.
yeah.
Um,
Is that Bradley Cooper?
it's Bradley Cooper. Yeah, Bradley Cooper just showing up for like a minute of screen time because why not?
Yeah, I had to remember that. I remembered watching
Yeah,
that, and I was like, "Oh, that's Bradley Cooper in there." Yeah,
it's Bradley Cooper. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of fun like that in
yeah.
this movie. So
Jarnathan's there.
Jarnathan.
That one woman is really sells it. With the Jarnathan.
It's what's one of my favorite bits and all because it does strongly come across to be like so one of the fun things about this movie is that there's aspects of it that legitimately feel like that would be something that players like oh
Right,
well
right.
there's a council member that's maybe there's a council member that's missing and you could like do you have a name for him Jarnathan.
Yeah, that's right.
Like that just sort of comes across like the DM just made up a name for this Arakakra council member.
Yeah.
Jarnathan.
I'm assuming you took a dive into this
Um,
movie. I don't know, but like, do we know how much of that was intentional? On the
I actually I don't know. I actually don't know how much of that was intentional
like,
to
I
make me feel that
originally want
way.
to know
But
how much thought was actually put into this, because like, are we giving it too much credit in certain areas? I don't even know.
I think based on the pedigree that was behind it, I think that there was like some legitimate like thought in terms of like some of that fun little like goofy sort of stuff that you would generally have happen in a D&D session when you're just sort of like having to make stuff up on the fly like that.
Right.
So
Okay. Yeah, I got that vibe for sure.
yeah.
That was the main thing I took away from it, is it's like a little quest. You're going together with your group,
Hmm.
and it's just fun, lighthearted, and I like the different how it was narrated. That lended itself well to it. I like when he would like go back too far in the story. I like those little bits.
Yeah. I think why I love this movie so much is that like there's a real starvation for like fantasy films in general
Hmm.
in Hollywood and I think this one strikes the pretty perfect balance of that. Yes, it's very lighthearted, it's fun, it's goofy. I mean, there's an obese dragon for crying out loud that shows up in this.
Yeah.
You never see stuff like that, and even in D&D, that doesn't really show up all that much. So that's kind of fun that there's stuff like that. But there's also like a really solid emotional core behind everything.
Hmm.
I know I've talked about on the channel that I'm always a big sucker like uh, for like dads trying to do their best kind of thing. So like that always hits me pretty hard when a lot of that stuff happens because it's just like man, Chris Pine's just a charming prick, but he's trying to do his best by his daughter, and
Hmm.
it's wholesome. It's great.
Bug.
Little bug, yeah.
Bug.
As Michelle Rodriguez calls her.
Yeah.
Um, well, here's a fun thing. I don't tell a lot of people this, but when I was younger, that was one of my older brother's nicknames for me was Bug.
Mm.
He called me because I bothered him, so I was Bug
Gotcha.
because I bugged him. But yeah, he called me Bug. growing up.
Was
So
a bug, little bug.
bit of bug, hardly there. That's a different movie.
You know, I always was thinking throughout this movie, it was like, this is definitely one of those, you know, it's a good movie, you don't expect it to be good, and it doesn't really have any business being good, that kind of thing. And so,
That was the huge surprise to me because I went and saw it. It had gotten like really good reviews, and it was also in this weird period of time where it came out like right in the middle of Wizards of the Coast was like, hey, we're going to be getting rid of the open gaming license, which is
mhm.
essentially their free use thing. We talked about it on a podcast a really long time ago. And I think it might have been the first podcast, I
Yeah.
think. The very first podcast of our show that we had on the channel where I talked about it. And essentially it was like, hey, we're getting rid of that open gaming license, and which basically means that like third parties are going to have to pay like exorbitant amounts of monies in order to publish their stuff. Um, it was kind of a big nightmare, and honestly, since then, Wizards of the Coast has done like so many things to D&D that it's like we don't even play 5th edition anymore. We don't play the new edition. We're playing Pathfinder now. We've made a pretty happy transition to that. But this is one of those shining lights that I still love and enjoy and cherish from. It's kind of like the sort of swan song to my love of D&D as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I feel like I can still enjoy untainted from a lot of that OGL stuff. And so it all came out in the midst of that. It was getting reviewed really well, like I said, but I was sort of like, yeah, it's probably fun or whatever. And then I went and saw it, and I was like, that was really good, like way better than it had any right to be.
Yeah.
Because the writing, the acting, it's just so much fun.
But
It's just
so my
the whole
question
time.
with that is that did the cast know, and did they care? My question is like, did they know they were actually in a good movie, or did they like, oh, we're in this stupid movie, you know, just whatever? Like, does Michelle Rodriguez, is she like, oh, we got a gem on our hands, or is she just like, all right, F it, let's
She's
do
just phoning
whatever.
it in.
Yeah.
That is a great question.
Because all the
That
roles you kind of can't. They could
Yeah,
just be phoning it in, and that just works for the delivery. Because that's just how.
yeah,
Because everything's kind of played up in a way.
yeah.
So it kind
There's a
of.
tongue in cheek aspect to a lot of it.
Yeah. So all the acting is kind of like. It's got that baked into it. So they could literally just show up and be like, I'm gonna phone it in, and then it works for the roles, like in an ironic sense. But I'm just so curious. I wonder, like, in interviews and stuff, if they were like actually cared about it, or they didn't know what they were getting
I
into.
I think I think they did. From memory, Chris Pine did. Chris, because I mean, I think he navigates that line. He's always done this as an actor. He's always kind of navigated the line of like silly irony, but like has a lot of self seriousness to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why the emotional core of the film works so well. Is really his performance. I can't really speak for everyone else. I honestly don't really remember a lot of the contemporary interviews of the time when it came out.
Yeah.
But because I went into the movie kind of blind, I think I don't even know if I'd seen a trailer for it. I just knew that it was coming out, and I was like, oh, okay, well, kind of want to go see that. But yeah, and yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's just fun pretty
It's
much from the
fun.
get go.
It's fun. It's good mindless fun. And I think what I asked previously when we did, I think it was one of our top tens, and you had it in there. I
Mm,
was like, because it was kind of confusing to me as a concept, like a movie based on Dungeons and Dragons.
hmm
How much like Dungeons and Dragons lore is actually in this thing, and is that like, because whenever I thought of Dungeons and Dragons, it's like, oh, it's what you make of it. Is there really that much of a solid story behind it that they can
Yeah,
glean a movie from? You know.
it does take place in Faerun in the Forgotten Realms. So it is in a certain time and place. The benefit of a lot of D&D is that you can kind of play loosey goosey in terms of how it's set, and like what time period it's set in. Lord Neverumber or Umber. What's it? Never. It's the Neverwinter. I can't remember his name. Lord
Yeah,
Neverumber.
something
It's
like
the
that.
King of Neverwinter, or the Lord of Neverwinter. He's like an established character in the lore.
Okay.
So, so that so the what is what is his name? The rogue, the con man. Uh,
Uh,
I keep
Zenk.
thinking Scratch. No, no, I keep thinking it's just a one simple name. It's like Hutch or uh,
Hodge, something like that.
had I should have a reference up to character names.
Yeah, I
We're
wrote down
going
everybody's
further
name,
here.
but that Hodge, something like Hodge.
Forge
Forge.
Fitzwilliam,
Okay,
a rogue and con artist. Yeah.
gotcha.
So, and I mean, the one of the things that I think works really well is that there's thought put into like you know verbal, somatic. Um, what was it? What are the three types of spells? It's verbal, somatic. Why can't I not remember this? It's like I played Pathfinder. I should remember this. Material? Maybe that's it. Yeah, material components. You need material components for some spells. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, verbal, somatic, material. Yeah, duh. For some reason, I was thinking that material was separate, but they show that like in practice, which is a lot of fun. Um,
Yeah.
they also like the same sort of thing with I love the time stop spell because they have like you can see the different like ranges of it where it's going to slow to this range, but it will actually actively stop time to this range as it expands
Hmm.
over the casting. So stuff like details like that are really cool in how they actually like show off how spells work in the game,
Right.
and they actually utilize them in the movie, and I love that. Also, similar thing. Um, One thing when I was getting used to playing Dungeons and Dragons, I always thought it was like, wow, it's kind of wild that turns are only a full round of combat takes place over the course of 6 seconds, and I'd always think that seems way too fast to me. But then as you see combat in this game, you're like, no, that makes sense. You're gonna fight people and you're gonna kill people in like 12
Right.
seconds a lot of the time, right? You're gonna 2 rounds of combat, somebody's gonna be dead because you've got people wailing on them. Like so stuff's gonna go down in that period of time. So
Hmm.
yeah, a lot of fun. I also it's also funny you mentioned that there's always like that tinge of irony, the tinge of sort of like the undercurrent of kind of like silliness to a lot of it. There's one character who's probably my favorite character in the movie though was Shank Yendar, the
Hmm.
paladin, who
Zinc.
is
Yeah.
yeah the opposite of that. He's just like the most because essentially he got kind of his emotions or part of something of him was completely changed during that thing that happened hundreds of years ago. But he's just a wonderful character.
Hmm.
He's just so fun. I like those like can't really understand sarcasm or irony.
Yep.
So there's a lot of those characters can always be a lot of fun, but he's a lot more self serious than say Drax. Um, so that
Yeah. And that's
that makes him
yeah.
more
The contrast makes the whole joke
yeah.
comes out of it. And even
Mm.
that fun bit with him walking away, where they're just the shot is just on him the whole time.
He really walks in a straight line.
Yeah.
Whoa, got a rock. Is he going around or is he going over?
Just right over it.
um,
So yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Also
mhm.
the hither thither staff, just the
Mm.
portal gun, right? Is
It's the
that
portal gun. Yeah,
that's what it is?
yeah. I want to say a hither thither staff has been in. Uh, let's see, hither thither staff. Let's see. Let's look it up. It is in 5e. It was created in October 2007. I wonder if it's saying that because that's when Portal came out.
Hmm.
It is basically a portal gun though. That's awesome. So
Yeah, they did had
it
some fun
was
playing
it
around with it.
it was created for the movie, I believe.
Oh, okay.
That's one thing.
Gotcha.
This was published on DS DVM as part of the marketing hype for the movie,
Huh. Okay, what about
which is cool.
the
Which is cool.
Thanes? Is that a Dungeons and Dragons thing?
The
Red,
Thane,
like the red Thanes and
yes, the Thane. So yeah. So some of the fun of a lot of this stuff is that they bring back a lot of they're like monsters and things that hadn't been used in materials for a long time, like displacer beasts were not a like I don't even think they were in I don't think they've been in, at least not at the time before the movie came out. I don't think they were in any of the official release materials. They were like they're a much older monster. But they're a super cool one. I think that the Than with the red wizards, that was a lot of stuff that was in older lore. And again, you do have to. I would not consider myself an expert on Dungeons and Dragons lore because so much stuff has changed over the years
mm-hmm.
in terms of like what stuff is and is not like still considered canon or whatever. It's just it's sort of all kind of it's kind of worked around or maybe sort of like explained away by newer editions, or like this is like another version of the world, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
So but yeah, they were Thay is like an actual a location in the world
That
of D&D.
the Thanes were the thing that felt the most like they probably came from a source material type thing.
Mm-hmm.
My other question is pertaining to in terms of how a Dungeons and Dragons campaign works. In this movie, obviously it's a movie, so it might be different, but I'm just curious in terms of how Forge, his story is intrinsically tied to our main guy. What's the main guy's name? Edgin?
Yeah, Ed.
He's tied to him and his daughter and everything. Like, is
Yeah.
that something that can happen in a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, or is it usually separate from all the characters? Because obviously you create your character. So is there usually anything tied into the?
That's so a lot of that is up to the DM when he's crafting the idea of the story of the campaign. He could maybe say, "Hey, you know, there's a heist that went bad, and this guy that you worked with is taking care of your daughter." Like that could be a whole thing that's going on, in terms of like introducing the concept of the campaign. So a lot of that can be worked through just by talking to the DM and figuring out like backstory kind of information. Is usually how a lot of that can play out. And yeah, stuff like that can absolutely happen. You could tie a character's backstory intrinsically into the main sort of threat or the main kind of thrust or antagonistic force of the story. A lot of the pre-written stuff isn't necessarily going to be doing that, but you can absolutely do a sort of a homebrewed or kind of a jerry-rigged kind of campaign where you do something like that in it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
But it was cool. I mean, one of my favorite bits of the whole movie is the talking to all the different corpses thing.
Speak with Dead is a very fun spell. It's
5 questions.
Yeah.
Is that something?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. 5 questions. You get 5 questions. It's just like getting very arbitrary, but
yeah, I like when he burned through all of them in that one guy. But that was a fun bit. And then they left the poor guy all the way to the post-credit scene still without.
That was only 4. That was only 4. Hello.
Yeah. And so ultimately, obviously, spoilers at this point. ultimately they're looking for this tablet. Was Tablet of Reawakening? Is that what it was?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because he wants to revive his wife, and ultimately it gets used on Holga, Michelle Rodriguez. I just found that interesting. Like the poor wife just got left behind there, huh? At the
Yeah,
end.
but that was sort of the whole. I mean, that was kind of the whole. That's the thing that the more times I've seen the movie, the more I just like love the symbolism of the dragonfly and how that relates to his relationship with his wife, and it's like a reminder that like of her advice to him to just sometimes you just gotta let things go. You can't try to keep holding on. You can't try to capture everything. Sometimes you have to let things go.
But not me though. But not me.
Well, well,
Not me.
he couldn't get over it, and I mean, well, and that sort of goes back to also the advice that the paladin gives him, where it's like, well, your wife's been dead for a long time, and like, is it really? It might not be right for her to come back to this
She's got
plane.
her own stuff going on now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's in the land of the
She
dead,
might have
so it's
moved
like
on already. Got her
exactly,
own
yeah.
other SO.
She's got another SO in the
They
afterlife.
just pull her
So
back.
sorry,
It's just a very
sorry, buddy.
awkward conversation that has to happen.
Yeah,
But Holga, I would feel bad if I was Holga. I was like, we did this whole thing for this, and then
you
he's
used
used
it
on
on
me.
me.
Yeah.
She basically was the little girl effectively was the little girl's mother.
Bug. Yeah, call him one Bug
Yeah,
for no reason.
Kira.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Michelle Rodriguez is cool.
She's awesome.
She
She's fantastic
she
in
plays a
this.
similar role in everything I've seen of her. She's just
Yeah,
the badass chick,
yeah,
but she plays it well.
she does. I love the so because you can take feats to have that sort of like improvised fighting like that. So I just think
Yeah.
it's so cool that she gets like the awesome axe stuff, but then she's also like, oh, she took improvised, so like bar fights and improvised fighting is sort of like a sort of a fighting style, and it's like she's great at that. She just takes whatever's in the environment, uses it to her advantage, and it's great.
Hmm.
So it's fun, like the little nods to like stuff that you can do in the game itself that you can have play out, but it's loose enough to make it entertaining for a movie. It's not so slavish to the
Right.
source material that it's takes away from it in any way, I would say. So,
And then Simon, was a big storyline with Simon,
mhm.
whether he's good at sorcerer or not, and
Mhm.
and
Because
the
attuning to particularly powerful magical artifacts, I think with certain magical artifacts, if you are low enough of a level or not don't have the particular like proficiencies, it's like you can't do it.
hmm,
So it's like for that, it's like he literally has to overcome himself, which is like I love that. Love that little thing. I mean, Justice Smith also makes like he's just honestly he's really good at playing that kind of a character,
yeah.
the kind of like the sad and somewhat pathetic kind of like character, and I mean he's great. I love his whole little journey that he goes on in this.
Yeah, and they get
So
a good bit at everything where he literally he was at it for hours, just keeps getting knocked by the guy in the helmet. So
I love how the second one he's like, oh, see, that was so much better than as far that time.
yeah,
You're already getting better.
and then Doric is the shapeshifter.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The
sh-
tiefling.
she's cool. I mean, they had some fun sequences of her shifting and some fun little scenes with that too.
Yeah, the wild shape druid. I love any stuff with that is super cool.
Because you can get
So
creative with it.
that was like
They were getting
yeah.
creative with how they were doing stuff with the whole hither thither, and using her to worm her way in there and whatnot. It was
The
cool.
heist. Yeah,
Yeah,
getting
the
that's
heist.
like that see that stuff like that is a just feels 100% like okay, we're gonna try to get into the how do we get in there? Oh, we're gonna put the hither thither portal on this thing. We'll put it in the carriage and we'll
Yeah,
sneak away on. Like it is 100% a that's a D&D plan if I've ever heard of one.
yeah. It's like, well, that
I love
works.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and if you can pull it off, if you can pull it off, make it work. Beautiful thing. You love seeing it.
yeah. But
So
yeah,
it's stuff like that's so
it's a
fun.
fun cast
So
of characters, and Forge himself is pretty fun too. He's got his little
it's also
comments.
Hugh Grant. That's it's not Colin Firth. It's Hugh Grant.
That's a
I got it
different one.
wrong.
Yep.
It's the other teethy British actor.
But he's fun too.
Oh, he's great.
In the beginning, I thought
I
it was
think
going to
he
be a
was.
ragtag group. I thought it was just going to be a wholesome ragtag group with him in there. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, he could be a fun
No,
little element.
he's a giant. He's a giant ass. he's
Yeah. Brainwash that kid too.
yeah, for real. Total gaslight girl boss right there. What's going on?
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's fun. I really enjoyed it. I was never bored.
Mm-hmm.
Always in it. It seems to really capture the vibe well. Just from what I know of Dungeons and Dragons, it
Mm-hmm.
captures that well. And yeah, it's just a fun quest. So, I would definitely be down. I would be down for more if they made more. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it made only a very slim profit, I think.
Okay.
So I think they were looking to kind of make either a sequel or another, maybe like a spin-off like TV series, but I don't think either of those things are gonna happen, at least not anytime soon, which is a shame because I think they really have they get more with this whole cast, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, but
But if nothing else,
yeah,
it'll stand alone as a solid
yeah,
gem.
for sure, yeah.
'Cause I had
Um,
seen this on lists of that people had of like movies that had no right being as good as they were kind of movies. So
this
it definitely
this is
fits it.
100% that.
Whoa, it's extra frozen this time. Hold on. We must conquer this. We must unravel the secret of this hidden curse. If we're ever going to dethrone the evil king, we got to get you unfrozen first. This must be the work of the Red Thanes. Hey, yo. Frozen. Shook in fear. It's like a Medusa stonification spell has been cast on him. Wow.
I have no idea what the fuck happened there.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing it throughout, but that was a full on freeze.
Yeah, it was. It just completely cracked. Well, I looked at the video
Petrification
connected.
spell.
I looked at the video. It was like at 5,000. It was maxed out on the ping. It was just like that for like 3 minutes or 2 or 3 minutes. So then I just disconnected, reconnected, and it was immediate. And now it's back to normal. So yeah, I don't. It's probably not going to be much of a future, which is unfortunate. But yeah, we got a nice little solid little story that can. I mean, like I said, this is the fourth time I've watched it. This movie's not old to me at all
Yeah.
yet. So that's what 4 times in the last 2 years. So I really like this movie a lot. This is one of my favorites of the last few years for sure.
It's a fun cast, fun characters.
Yeah. Another little fun thing. Again, all the little monster references. We get an owl bear showing up. We get a gelatinous cube, mimics. We get all the displacer beast, which I mentioned before. One of my favorite enemies in all of Dungeons and Dragons. I love the displacer beast. But we also get it was a cute little cameo of some of the during the High Sun games. One of the other troops. Those were all the lead characters in the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon series from the 80s.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah. Which is kind of a fun little fun little reference there
Hmm.
to that. So
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't work in a Critical Role cameo in there.
yeah, I don't know if it was like maybe too late in production for that to really work that out. Tom Morello showed up as one of the people though. Tom Morello, one of the was it Rage Against the Machine, the bassist,
Hmm.
is also part of Audioslave. Um, he's been I think he's just generally a big D&D fan, so he showed up in it. Yeah, would have been fun if they some of them had shown up in it, but twas not to be.
But they really had fun making it. You can tell like they didn't play it
Oh yeah,
safe. Like they went all in with the presentation and capturing that energy.
yeah. The way it's shot is really fun too. I just there's a lot of energy to a lot of the action scenes and a lot of the fun wide panning nature shots, and the score is really great too. It gets right a sort of fantasy vibe. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Is anything else?
No, I think that's it. I just wanted to share that with you because
Yeah.
it's a delightful little movie, and I think it's a lot of fun. And like I said, it still has that emotional core to it. That's also a very satisfying little story in there too.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. All right.
yeah,
Let's lock it in. 3, 2, 1. Flip. 8.
fine.
Tarqaron score 8.5. All right.
Yeah. There's not much to say. There's not much more to really say about it. Honestly, I think we pretty much covered it. It's an enjoyable film. It's a good solid film. It's not like hugely like
Revolutionary.
complex. It's not revolutionary, but it is a at the same time it's you don't see a lot of movies like this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think a lot of worries about it, at least from what I'm trying to remember, there was some worries about it being like being almost like maybe too Marvel-y in tone. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it ever goes that far. It is, I mean, it does have a tongue-in-cheek vibe to it through most of it, but it is really kind of its own thing. It's its own sense of humor. It's not like, oh, that just happened for, which is like that's not really fair to most Marvel films because they're not usually that bad. But
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the vibe people sort of the shade people generally throw at that style of humor. But no, this has its own little sense of humor going on. So that's why it works. I think.
Yeah. I'm glad I got to watch it.
Yeah.
Definitely. I heard good
Yeah.
things. So yeah, it'll stick with me for sure.
Yeah. Like I said, very rewatchable. So this is like a really easy movie to just like vibe and watch with people.
Just like Memoir of a Snail. Throw that
Yeah,
on.
sure, just like that. Just put that on in the background, and then all of a sudden you'll be just like talking to somebody. You look over and like, why are there naked people on there? Like, what's going on? Are there naked
That's right.
claymation people showing up here? What's going on here?
That's right. And thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed. Like the video. Leave a comment letting us know your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this video, why don't you go check out episode 5 of Survivor Fiji. And it's
Okay,
called
sure.
Coffee Gate. All right.
Coffee Gate.
Classic episode of
Um,
Survivor right there. Check it out. We have Survivor
Yeah.
every week in the channel, as well as movie reviews, game reviews, discussions, podcasts, and a variety of other stuff. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Take care.
All right. Mordred Canaan's dome of whatever.
Jarnathan.
Jarnathan.